like in 2018, and you're like, that has gotten so much bad press. Who are the new crackheads?
Still does this.
And I feel that way with libertarians. How are you a tried and true 2018 libertarian?
Well, the answer is they've all moved on to the harder shit, like Graper and
exactly.
They're all Nazis, and a few of them I will give credit. Because libertarianism basically it's fairly alienated from the status quo, so it's harder for them to just become regular conservatives or whatever. They end up, most of them become Nazis, and I will give credit to the few who are true to. They take the principle of of freedom and an idea, and they take it, and I need to be a socialist. And some of them do that, and I give those people credit. But most of them are
let's
just
credit
for becoming socialists instead of Nazis.
Yes, right. So, which of course, because that's I guess these guys are socialists or whatever. But I mean, I don't mean to be like labeling people. It's just he seems to be giving people credit for becoming socialists. So these are my two choices. I can become one of the two most murderous, evil, like 20th century concoctions that humanity came up with. Okay, so I could either be a Nazi or a fucking, or a Stalinist. These are my options.
It infuriates me of what research did you do to suggest that all libertarians don't remain libertarians but always graduate on to either Nazi or socialism? What research did you do?
Well, it's
that one kid or did you even meet a kid, or are you just making this one up?
Well, the Nazi part is just completely made up, because really the term Nazi, I mean, as somebody. Listen, I hate to play this card.
I love Hitler as much as the next guy.
Sure. No, but look, I hate to play this card, but as a Jew whose family escaped Nazi Germany, who's, and a lot of people who died in Nazi Germany in death camps and shit like that, it's like, okay, so we're really just going to throw the term out Nazi that simply. So in other words, some of them supported Trump. More or less, that's what you mean. Because even the fucking hardcore alt-right guys, which are like a small percentage of the Trump supporters or a small percentage of the Ron Paul libertarian movement that are like hardcore alt-right guys, even them, calling them Nazis is just so like sloppy. It's like, really? They're a National Socialist Germans Worker Party member? Is that what they are? Is that a fair way to assess a fucking hardcore nationalist in America today? Why the fuck would they? You know what I mean? Like, it's literally the National Socialist German Workers Party. That's what they are. That's what most libertarians went to, and a few became socialists. Again, it's just kind of like a ridiculous assertion. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, sure, we probably don't have as big numbers as we had a few years ago. We've still got some decent numbers. Look at my podcast downloads. They're doing pretty good. There's still a lot of people out there who are hardcore libertarians. But, okay. So our numbers are down. What does that mean? It's it's like you were saying before. It's just mocking you. It's not a fucking argument. But, like, okay, I don't even really disagree. I wouldn't even disagree that I think democratic socialists were having a bigger moment than libertarians had. But, part of that's also because propaganda spreads faster than hard truths. Maybe that's part of it. All right, let's keep playing.
They're left are in it for the fucking paycheck, like Robbie Suave.
Right.
The rest of them are the ones getting paid by the Koch brothers, getting paid by all of these fucking stitched up think tanks.
All right, let's pause it again for a second.
How do we get that Koch brother money?
Yes.
How do we do that?
That's the only reason why people are libertarians, because there's so much money in it. That's where you go if you want all the big bucks, is right over here to libertarianism. Because, of course, it's like they bring up the Koch brothers all the time as if this is the only political ideology where there's big donors behind it. Like, yeah, you're right. There's no money in being a fucking left-wing socialist. No one will ever push that shit. It's the only people who are in it are the ones who are in it for the money. Yeah, Ron Paul was just trying to cash in all that time. That's why he was the fucking congressman who's still just speaking the truth on fucking radio, talking like about the next disastrous war we're going to get into. It's because he was just after a paycheck. And even as far as these Reason Magazine guys go, like, they could all probably make more money by just going into some other mainstream media outlet. I'm not denying that there are some people out there making a lot of money from the Koch brothers and shit like that. But the idea that if you were just trying to sell out and make money, that's where you'd go also, into libertarianism.
Are those Is anyone really getting funny from the Koch brothers in the category of what we would call libertarian?
Well, not our version of libertarian.
No, I'm just saying
for
they're
sure.
the largest conservative donors. They're not giving money to libertarians.
Well, they do give some money to some
they?
libertarians,
All right, I don't know
but
about
they
it.
also give a lot of money to conservatives. If you wanted that Koch brother money, and if you wanted big money in general, you'd be way better off going the neocon route. The Kochs will still give you money, and you can get money from all these other big donors.
I don't buy with the amount of money that they have that if they really were more invested in libertarian values that they wouldn't spend it differently.
Well, that I completely agree with you. It's and the hardcore libertarians, and they did address Ron Paul before, and there is a picture of Murray Rothbard in the fucking on the cover of this video.
Yeah.
Those guys don't get any money from the Koch brothers. None. The Mises found Lou Rockwell says that the Koch brothers specifically told him not to start the Mises Institute. Like Lou Rockwell and the Koch brothers hate each other. They don't get along at all.
Beef.
Yeah, they have hardcore libertarian beef. But whatever, I guess that's a little inside baseball in the libertarian world. Maybe these guys don't know about that shit, but it's a little bit dismissive.
Clearly, they did their research before this segment. I mean, they were spot on with that Nazi stat, so they would know about all the Koch brothers going to podcasts like this. Put me in touch with the Koch brothers. I work sales. Get me on the phone. I'll pitch them and close them. If they got money for us, I fucking want that money.
Yeah, dear God, if there was, but the idea, like particularly to someone like me, to just be like, oh, the reason people go into libertarianism is because that just like expedites the amount of money they can make in their career. It's like, really? Are you fucking kidding me? I don't know. It's pretty rich for a bunch of fucking left-wing podcasters to be telling me that I'm fucking just a libertarian because that just gets you along so much further in this game, right? Than if I were to be like some left-wing fucking comedian. Like, really?
Right. I've been telling you for months that we needed a black person and a female on the show, and we had to start talking about how much we love transgender people and how we're going to swap genders and do more for the females in this community and make sure that abortions are legal so that we could actually make some money and advance our comedy careers.
Oh, God.
I've been saying this for months, Dave.
There have been, like, not even borderline. Borderline is too complimentary. Just talentless comedians who have started podcasts and just jumped on a left-wing fucking train and blown up over
You don't even need to be
like
that funny.
literally, I mean, not even that funny. Like literally can't do comedy, can't get laughs at a comedy club, and have become big off of podcasts simply because they go along with a particular left-wing narrative. That shit ain't happening on the libertarian side.
Like a
you got to
podcast-
at least put out a product that people enjoy. Like you're not just jumping on that. And yes, most people probably know the 2 or 3 podcasts that I'm referring to. But anyway, let's keep playing from the video. Let's see where they go with this.
That no one on earth buys, and that's the big difference, and that's what's
Or they really
This is what he
believe it,
writes. This
or-
is what he writes.
In the period of time between 2009 and 2015, a group of Republicans that appeared like they wanted to shrink government stole some power from the old guard. Time magazine dubbed Senator Rand Paul the most interesting man in national politics, and libertarianism was finally enjoying its political moment. Even the New York Times thought so.
Finally.
Oh, so okay, wow. You've got the biggest fucking slack-jawed rubes in politics to be slightly impressed by your fake fucking branding exercise. Congratulations.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the point is that it delivered for the people that funded all this.
Yes.
Well,
They
here's the thing. They did win because the what libertarian leads to wins. You elected what in 2010 Justin Amash and Rand Paul.
Yeah.
You also elected dozens of Freedom Caucus psychotics, and they are at work eviscerating our fucking welfare state. And just because they recognized correctly that all of this non-aggression principle.
Non-aggression principle.
Just because they've left that, shit by the wayside and have abandoned any, half-hearted bromides about, we believe in multiculturalism and shit like that, doesn't mean they're not fundamentally libertarian.
All right,
Listen to
let's
this,
pause
listen
that
to this
real
small
quick. Okay, and by the way, the last thing he just said before we hit the pause button was listen to this smug asshole, which something about the left, man. It's always common with left people. They're like, let's listen to more of this smug asshole. You literally just made fart noises when Rand Paul got brought up. That was your response to it. But I guess Robbie Suarez is being smug for writing a piece that's like, hey, we thought we were having a moment and now you think you're having one too.
And let the record state, they weren't even good fart noises.
I'm just saying, step up your fart noise game,
Yeah.
bro. Come on. Bring in a fart machine or something.
Do something.
But to say that, well, I mean, look, that whole statement there was just
I was
utter
lost.
horseshit.
Yeah, I was
like I
lost.
don't even know. He's like, well, just because they dropped this non-aggression principle thing doesn't mean that they're not true libertarians. Well, yeah, actually, that's exactly what it means. That is exactly what it means. But to say this is stuff that the people on the left, it's like no matter what reality is, there are certain things. It's the same as how Republicans will always say the military is underfunded. No matter what the reality is, you could have the most overfunded military in the history of the universe. It's still, Obama is dismantling the military. Like, what is he? Where does this fucking come from? He increased the military budget. Doesn't matter. To the Republicans, the military is underfunded. And to lefties, the welfare state is being eviscerated. Care to show me any data on that? Do you really think the Freedom Caucus got in and did anything? You are out of your fucking mind.
And if they did, we would cheer it.
Oh, yes.
Like the fact that you're saying like they slaughtered babies. That's the way he's saying it. Like,
oh no, I wish that was true. I wish they were eviscerating the
during
welfare
the
state.
time-
But it's utterly fantasy.
right, in the same time period where we got Obamacare, that was
Yes,
an evisceration
this is
of the welfare
this is an
state.
evisceration of the welfare state. You came out of it with substantially high government spending, a whole new entitlement program. What welfare was eviscerated? What are you talking about, man? Yes, you're right. The Freedom Caucus got in there and just went to work and slashed government left and right. Like, what are you talking about? Well, at one point, Paul Ryan, in the height of the whole Tea Party movement thing, Paul Ryan proposed a budget that I think it would balance the budget in like 36 years. And it basically said for people who are 55 now, we're going to start having some means testing for entitlements when you guys retire. And people freaked out about it and it didn't get passed. So I don't know I wish what you were saying was true. But nobody has eviscerated the welfare state. That's just, that is factually, demonstrably, provably false. All right, let's keep playing.
Asshole. He says, while it's true that more and more people desire cultural freedom, specifically the kind of customization, choice, and control over their own lives that a libertarian worldview provides.
Meaningless.
Political libertarianism had much less support than it seemed. Voters didn't send the Tea Party to Washington to constrain government, and they ended up caring far less about crony capitalism than they did about illegal immigration.
That's capitalism, you fucking asshole.
What is non-political libertarianism? Like, I don't even understand.
Well, here's the
Okay,
thing.
just pause
Matt
it
Brunig
one more
pointed
time.
this out.
Okay. You can scream, not a fucking thing, to which I would scream back, not a fucking argument. Yes, crony capitalism is a thing. And no, it's not the same thing as capitalism. Free market capitalism is businesses competing with each other and competing for customers. Crony capitalism is businesses buying off politicians to write rules in their favor. There's a difference between those two things. Sorry, there just is. So capitalism would be like or free market capitalism would be like Lewis and Ralph starting Gas Digital. And then fucking, now they have a business that a lot of people make money from because they put out a product, these podcasts that a lot of people like to listen to. Crony capitalism would be like Goldman Sachs contributing to Barack Obama's campaign and then Barack Obama bailing out Goldman Sachs. There's no difference between those two things? I mean, you can scream, not a fucking thing, but that's not a fucking argument. Crony capitalism is a thing. Free market capitalism also is a thing. They're different. Sorry. Let's keep playing.
Out to me. And like the libertarian, like again, the 12 people that Robbie Suave and the editors
It's 13 people.
Their vision of libertarianism is only attractive if they sell it by agreeing with things that liberals and leftists already want and believe in.
Like that was the Ron Paul revolution. It was a bunch of dipshit college kids
being like,
who heard
legalize
no
weed.
war and legal weed, and
Right.
were excited about that because he was the only candidate on either party saying
Talking about it.
That was the only thing. And the thing is,
So
there's
pause
nothing
for a second.
libertarian necessarily about
Pause
either
it for a
of those
second.
positions.
This is shit. You just brought it all the way back. So let's try to get to where we were. I think that's just where it was loaded up to, not where we were exactly. But we may have to figure this out in a second. But let's just go through that real quick.
That's the best thing I ever heard, Davey Smith.
It really is.
I only liked him because he had the most popular views on war and drugs, and there were no other
stupid little things like that. It's like, well, they only liked him because he was the only guy who took on the two most important issues of our time: The fact that we fucking throw people in cages for fucking nonviolent crimes, like we basically have slavery instituted in America in 2018. You know, he took on that, and the fact that we're slaughtering poor brown people by the millions overseas.
fuck that
I mean,
guy.
yeah, sure. So some dipshit college kids liked him because he was good on war and drugs. Like, this always fucking amazed me ever since I became a libertarian and got into Ron Paul and all this stuff, that you would think with those two issues, the left would have to give him credit on that. Because he was, as they say, in their own words, the only one who mentioned that. The only fucking one. He was the only one who cared about these issues that the left should and has to completely agree with him on. Yet still, when mentioning that, they find a way to be dismissive and go, yeah, I mean, sure, some dipshit college kids who were, you know, reading about monetary policy and studying the history of the Federal Reserve, you know, those dipshits only liked him because he was like, hey, we should stop throwing human beings in cages and bombing villages for profit. That's a pretty bad idea.
The concept of there's only one politician who represents the two most important ideas for you, and you're an idiot for liking him. How could you vote for that guy when there are these other people with ideas that you don't support?
That's right.
That's literally what he's saying.
And I mean, you're just wrong about everything, and then so dismissive about the one guy who's like, by the way, I just, you know, they call Robbie Suave like smug and things like that. But let me tell you something. If fucking Ralph Nader was running for president, I'd probably vote for him. If Glenn Greenwald was running for president, I'd probably vote for him. If there was somebody on the left who I disagreed with all this other shit, but they were great on the war issue, they will have my vote because, you know, we could sit here and discuss the minimum wage all day, but if we're dropping bombs on villages full of human beings, maybe we could come together and agree that's not a good idea. You know, we're slaughtering people by the hundreds of thousands. Yeah, maybe I don't agree with you about top marginal income tax rates, but let's put that aside for a second and say, hey, great job on that. I would never mock someone on the left for being right on the most important issue.
It's also like, okay, so there's this libertarian who has the best views, is championing the most important liberal viewpoints. And then the Democrats right now are doing something else. And you don't think, well, all right, maybe this libertarian's onto something.
Yeah, no.
You look at it and go, oh, since he's a libertarian, he's clearly wrong.
No, you just want to yell that there's no difference between crony capitalism and real capitalism. Which, by the way, the two issues that you're talking about are crony capitalist issues. People are making billions of dollars off of these wars. People are making billions of dollars off of these fucking prisons, off of mass incarceration. And yet, the libertarian, Ron Paul, is against both of them. I guess he does see a difference between crony capitalism and free market capitalism. All right, let's keep playing. Let's try to find our way back to that spot. We could edit a little bit out later.
That a libertarian worldview provides.
Meaningless.
It's a little past here.
Than they
Not
did
a
about,
fucking
than they
thing!
did about
Little
illegal
past here.
immigration.
That's
Matt Brunig pointed this out to me, and like the libertarian, like again, the 12 people that Robbie Suave.
a bunch of dipshit college kids libertarian necessarily
Right here
about
should be good.
either of those positions. Those positions are very much at home on the left. And that's the thing about this that makes it so funny is that this guy is so up his own ass in his fucking Georgetown happy hours with all this pud pulling fucking Cato buddies that
But he's
they don't
smart.
realize that libertarianism is entirely a paper tiger funded by wealthy people who give it the illusion of popular support. Whereas socialism, if it is properly understood and becomes something that can like actually reach out and be persuasively appealing to people, literally is the aspirations of the entire working class.
All right,
That
let's
is
pause it right
slightly
there.
more
Oh God, I just love it.
You get on that one.
No, I just love it so much because look, this is, and by the way, Rob, didn't I just say this earlier today that people on the left can't help thinking in these collectivist way? Because what he said is literally the aspirations of the entire working class. Literally the entire working class's aspirations. Now, right away, if anybody ever says something like that to you, they go, literally all black people's aspirations, or literally all of women's aspirations, or literally all of that. You should right away realize that human beings are individuals and we don't all have the exact same aspirations. So this is just such a crazy way of looking at the world. But for him to say that libertarianism is this paper tiger, but socialism, when understood properly, is literally the realization of the aspirations of the entire working class. oh, okay. Well, here's the problem that you guys are running into. And this might really start to bug you a little bit. But the working class doesn't really like you guys that much. I don't know how many working class people you know, but if you think they're on board with this college campus left-wing socialism bullshit, you're out of your fucking mind. None of these ideas that you're talking about come from the working class. Literally none of them. They do not arise from the working class. Where do we hear about all this socialism, democratic socialism, whatever the fucking flavor you guys are putting on it today? I hear about it at elite college universities from some of the college kids who go there who are the most privileged human beings who have ever existed in human history. They're literally, they're in a first world country at a prestigious university. And by the way, they're getting their ideas from college professors. I don't know if they're the working class to you, but that seems more like the elites to me. You're getting these ideas out of Hollywood. You're getting these ideas out of mainstream politicians and out of the mainstream media. I don't think that's the working class. See, here's the problem when you decide that you've figured out what the aspirations of literally the entire working class are. Here's what you got to deal with. You know who the working class went for in the last election? Trump. They liked that guy. Yeah, the working class isn't into your bullshit. I mean, okay, I'm not claiming to speak for literally the entire working class because that's literally fucking retarded. But the working class went for Donald Trump. You know what the working class in America loves in large numbers? You know what a lot of them love? They love these fucking, what's the term I'm looking for? The fucking, like, wealth churches. The fucking prosperity gospel. You know those guys, that's the term, right? Prosperity gospel. The fucking, that's why they love Trump. Because they like these guys who are just fucking talking about wealth. That's what fucking working class people tend to like. They tend to like fucking Miller Lite and NASCAR and some fucking rich guy who says grab him by the pussy. They're not, who do you think your dumb fucking left-wing socialist message is resonating with? You think this is the workers? I know this is your tired old prosperity theology. There we go. I know this is your tired old Marxist worldview that the workers are the ones that we really care about. Now, of course, in your bullshit, I guess like people who own a small business, they wouldn't be considered workers in your world. But they just work harder than anybody else you know, but they're not real workers. But there's something funny about fucking podcasters talking about how they speak for the entire working class. Like, I don't know. I mean, let's get real here, guys. We're not exactly lugging brick, We're podcasting. But these are the aspirations of the entire working class. Nope. Sorry. You're talking about the aspirations of the fucking elite. And you know what? George Orwell wrote about this like way back in the day. So many of the socialists throughout history have been these people who were born into like noble families from privileged backgrounds. And then they like to take on this air of, no, I represent like the working class. But it's bullshit. You don't. You certainly don't represent literally all of them.